So I'm about to repaint all the trim pieces for the Arrow for the second time. Hey guys, welcome back to Blue Sky Flight. My name is Bob, and these are the trim pieces for the Arrow that I am repainting for the second time. I mentioned in a previous video, if you didn't see that, no fault of the paint shop. Gave them a color swatch to do some match paint on this stuff for me. They did a good job on that, but what I should have done, the original color of the trim pieces was a very dark gray, and I put the new color on. It looked pretty good until I got the new side panels and actually saw it fully against that, and you can tell there's a color difference. What I should have done was prime all this a very light color like a white first, then hit it with the SEM paints. Paints are made for plastic so they don't peel and they're flexible, but they go on very thin and very light. I put on a lot of coats, looked like I had really good coverage, which I think I did in general. It's just with that darker color in the back, it's not a lot different, but it's different enough that it's noticeable when they're in the airplane right next to the side panels. And of course, all these window pieces, they go right next to your side panels. So the difference is definitely noticeable. So I'm gonna go through the process of prepping these and then priming them and then repainting them. So I'll take you step by step through that process, how to do it for all the plastics in your airplane, which will save you a lot of money because if you haven't already looked online to replace any of these pieces of just absolute plastic on an airplane, each one of these pieces is several $100s. Go figure, it's for an airplane, right? So a lot cheaper to get out what you've got and then refinish that. So that's the process I'm doing now. So I'll get to work on it and I'll take you kind of through the process as I go. So SEM is the manufacturer of the products that I use for the repainting here. Take you on their website, show you everything that's on that, but basically it's a full line of stuff that allows you to repaint plastics, leather, vinyl, carpet. Their whole product line is basically all about refinishing and redoing interiors. So it's really good stuff. It adheres well to the plastic. It's also very flexible, so it won't peel over time and that kind of thing. But couple steps in the process, highly recommend doing it. They've got some good videos as well that take you through the process depending on what you're doing. But first stop is the SEM soap. It's a kind of a gritty soap, and you use a little scour pad when you put it on. It just goes on dry, you rub it in. I'll show you the process. But basically what this is going to do, it's going to take off any kind of a clear coat as well as removing any kind of oils and things like that, and put a little bit of a scuff into the surface as well. Basically takes it down to a point where it's ready to paint. Once that's done, then you're going to hit it with this plastic and leather prep. It's just a quick spray, and this is just a final step to remove any remaining grease from your fingers, anything like that, right before you paint it. So we'll do these two things to all these, get them ready to go, and then I'll put on the primer, and then once that's dried, then we'll repaint. So here we go. And if you guys have used any other manufacturers, any other paint products, feel free to throw that in the comments down below. Let me know how that went for you. If you've used any of the SEM products, let me know how that went as well. This is not sponsored by them in any way, shape, or form. I just did a lot of research on the internet getting ready to do this, and this kind of seemed like the product to go with. So, and it's worked well. Like I said, I've already redone all these parts. They came out really well. I mean, the paint is on there nice. It's a beautiful finish. You can still see the texture through that. So it looks like original. Unfortunately, it's just too dark, so I've got to redo it. But what are you going to do? So I'll just do one piece as a sample, take you through the steps of that. I'm not going to make you watch me do all of this, and we'll go from there. So first step is just take some of this. One container of this will do you for the whole project. You don't use a lot of it. It's kind of a goop. Just put a little bit of that on there. And then just take your scour pad. And you're just doing this kind of lightly. You're not trying to scuff it or anything. You just kind of rub it. And you'll see it'll kind of start to foam up a little bit. on there. So it's kind of like when you just lightly sand something before painting it. What this will do, it'll take it down to kind of a dull finish when you're done. And like I said, this is hard plastic, but like this part of the window trim, very flexible. But again, this paint's made for that. Works great. I mean, in reality, if you wanted to, if you had, let's say, leather seats or vinyl seats, and you just wanted to change the color, redo them a little bit, that's what this stuff is made for. If you look at their website, they kind of take you through the process of repairing and repainting leather in either the same color or new colors. So, good stuff. I put a clear coat over this, so I'm scrubbing it a little bit more than you typically need to, just to get through that. All right, so now I'm just going to take it outside. I'll rinse all this off. I'll come back, I'll dry it with a microfiber cloth, and then I'll hit it with the prep spray. And I'm wearing gloves not because this stuff is toxic. I just don't want any oil from my hands to get on the pieces after I've prepped them this way. So just take it and dry that off. Microfiber. And then once it's dry, take the plastic and leather prep, get this out of the way. And this is just a really fine spray. Kind of spray it on like that, let it be wet. And take another microfiber cloth and just wipe it off. They say just wipe in one direction so that if there's any oil or anything, you don't drag it on there. Again, if you go on their website, they've got some YouTube videos that they'll link to with all their products, stepping you through, you know, repairing vinyl, repairing leather, repainting it, and all that. And that's it. That's the two-step process. Now I'll get the rest of it done, and then I'll hit all this stuff with the primer. I got some Krylon primer that's made specifically for plastic as well, so that it won't peel or crack. And then I've got the new paint from SEM that's been color matched to go off after that. So I'll get busy on the rest of this stuff, and I'll see you in the painting process. So I'll do 2 coats of primer. The first one I'm going to do really light, just to give a base for the second coat to adhere to, really. I'll give that just a few minutes to kind of tack up, and then I'll come through and I'll put on the second coat of primer, making sure I've got nice even coverage on that. Once that's done, I'll give all that about an hour or so to kind of set up and dry, and then I'll come back in with my SEM paints. And similarly, on the first pass, really light coat. Again, that stuff goes on really thin, but on the first coat, don't worry really about coverage. Just get something down there as a base for the other coats to kind of start building on. And you give that a few minutes in between each coat, and on the subsequent coats, you're just going to do it nice and smooth and get really good coverage on that. But take your time, don't overdo it. Again, this goes on really thin. You don't want it to run or anything like that. And it will dry really fast in between the coats. So you only need a few minutes, maybe 5 minutes or so in between coats is sufficient. And I'll put on about 4 coats of the SEM paint, and then I'll add a clear coat on top of that once that's had a chance to set up. All right, well, that's got everything primered white now, so that should lighten up the top coat so that it shows the true color. We'll find out. Whew. All right, well, the painting is done, and more importantly, this is the plastic, this is the trim. I think we've got a good match on the color, so won't have to do that all over again anymore. So next up, I'll put a clear coat on this, and then we'll put them in the airplane. And all we've got left after that is just waiting on the seats to come in. Should be soon. Can't wait. As I mentioned before, I got this product from SEM. Did a little research on the internet, and they seem to be a pretty good product for what I wanted to do. I'll kind of walk you through the website so you can find the paints that I use that are specific for plastics and things like this. Just go to the website like I'm doing here, go down here to aerospace, and then to refinish. That's going to show you a variety of different products. The ones that I use are these first ones here called Color Coat aerosols. They come in a wide array of colors, and like I mentioned before, you can also get these mixed up to an exact match. The way I did that, if you go here on their website, you can go over to this link where it says Find a Distributor, and then search in your area. And again, when you select your distributor, you're going to see a variety of distributors. A lot of these are going to be auto parts stores because they sell this paint. But again, what you're looking for is a distributor that can also mix the interior coatings. So again, that'll be highlighted there. This is the distributor that I used in my area. They did a really nice job. So if you happen to be in the Central Florida area or the Orlando area, I can highly recommend them. I had to go back to them the second time around as well when I had to redo this paint, and they were really great. As far as all the other supplies that you need from SEM, a lot of that stuff you can get on Amazon. You can get the paints from Amazon as well if you don't want the color changed at all and you just want to order, some of their standard colors. You can find a variety of that stuff on Amazon and probably a lot of other places as well. But primarily I used Amazon to get the plastic and leather prep as well as the SEM soap. So the SEM soap was what we used to prep the surface, remove a clear coat, and kind of scuff it up a little bit. And then you want the plastic and leather prep. That was just that final spray that we used to take off any remaining grease or residue or anything like that. So Amazon was a great source for those two things. And then the paints themselves, like I said, I just went to the distributor in my local area after I did a search, went in there with my color swatch, told them that I wanted the SEM color coat mixed in this color, and told them how many cans I wanted, and went from there. For a project the size of mine, I used about 6 cans. Like I said, it goes on pretty thin, but I would estimate most projects somewhere between 6 and 8 cans is probably what you're going to need to get this all done. In addition to all the plastic window trim pieces, there's a number of other pieces of trim that need some touch-up in the airplane for sure. And that's actually what I spent a good bit of my time initially doing with the airplane while I was waiting for side panels and the carpet and all the other things to come in from Airtex. So in the back, you've got a couple pieces of trim in that baggage compartment, one at the door and one there where the seat bench is. Those are aluminum pieces, and then there's several of them up by the pilot seat down at the floor that are around the flap handle, several more metal pieces of aluminum. What I ended up doing with all of those pieces, first I started cleaning them up, and I was going to just try to kind of polish them up and make them kind of look like new. And then I decided with the color scheme I was going with in the airplane that they'd actually look a lot better in black. And so I went ahead and I painted those black after I cleaned them up really good and everything. And they actually came out really nice in the airplane. I really like the way they came out. Let me know what you guys think in the comments of that when I show you the final reveal of the airplane. And then you've actually got that cover around your trim wheel and your flap handle. That one was in pretty bad shape. It was pretty beat up. I took that out of there. There were several areas that had some cracks in it, so I needed to do a little bit of repair on that. And then once I got that straightened out, I got that repainted in black, and then I ordered some new placards to go on that, and that came out pretty nice. Another piece that was pretty beat up in the airplane was the throttle quadrant. That had a good bit of scuffing on it. You can kind of see it had worn through the outer paint down to the primer on the sides of that. But that was an easy one. Took that out, repainted the outside of that, and then I ordered new placards that go on the inside that show you the positions of your throttle and your prop lever and your mixture, and put that on there. And that came out pretty nice as well. A couple of the side air vents back there by the back seats, got those taken care of. And one of the other things I had to work on was that hat shelf in the back, or the bulkhead, some people call it. But that actually is fiberglass. So it had a few cracks in it and a couple small holes in it. So that was my kind of first foray into doing some fiberglass repair, which I quickly learned I do not want to build a fiberglass airplane after messing with that. So if I build anything, I think it's going to be a metal airplane. But anyway, I just got a fiberglass repair kit, and I kind of worked through that, and it actually came out pretty good. I mean, it was just a bit of a mess, so it's not the funnest thing I've ever worked with, but it came out pretty good. Repaired the fiberglass on that, built up a couple areas, and then sanded those down nice. And then I used the same SEM paints on that after I put a good primer on it, and I made that match basically all the rest of the trim.
Today is trim day, so I've got all the trim repainted for the second time. Everything came out really good, so now it's just the process of putting all the trim back in place. So I'm going to get started on that. You can follow along. I'll speed this up. So here's a little bit of a change. I decided to paint the seatbelt covers the same color as the Gasper fans so that they blend in a little bit better with the headliner. The original plan was painting them the trim color, and at first it was the wrong trim color, so that was too dark, and definitely didn't like the way it stood out like that. But I'm going to put the window trim in. That's going to be right next to it. So let me know in the comments what you guys think. Should I go and keep these the trim color, or sorry, the Gasper headliner cover, or should I repaint these to match the trim color? Wait till I get it all together, see what that looks like. But let me know what you guys think. I go back and forth on it on a daily basis, so just curious to see what you guys think about it. Thanks. Do your seatbelts do this? They don't retract all the way back up in there, and you have this bit that you have to hang, but it seems a lot longer than I think it should be. This one hangs on a hook up there, but just curious if that is normal, or if maybe the rollers in here need new springs or something like that. So let me know what your airplane does. This is where taking a lot of pictures comes in handy. Trying to find all the holes to line up with my trim. So you'd think you could feel them under there, but you can't. And you get a rough idea when you hold it up there, but pictures Lots of pictures. See what I mean about the screwdriver? Find one screw hole, line it up, probe around for the other one carefully, and then once you find it, you got a couple of them, now you got a pretty good line going. Like I said, that little screwdriver and this little tool, very, very useful. Trim screws. I almost forgot. These pieces aren't screwed in, they're in place with pop rivets. So, I get to do pop rivets today. I've never done that before. Well, no, I haven't done pop rivets. I did go to Oshkosh this past year, and I did get to do some actual riveting with a rivet gun, because they've got lots of those fun workshops there. These obviously are much easier, just squeeze and pop. Although I think maybe I did do one of those anyway. So yeah, something different. Change pace. Alright, I feel pretty comfortable that I've got the right holes. So, let's do it. My first rivet. That's fun. Except the head's too small. Shit. Now I have to drill out my first rivet. Well, actually, I drilled them out before, so the head was just too small for the plastic. Rivet out. Look at that. Today I'm a man. I'm an airplane man. Except my filthy hands are getting my headliner dirty. Oh man. Well, what are you gonna do? Have to clean up after. That's it. Meanwhile, back at the ranch. Let's make some holes. Try again. Alright, that's done. First riveting adventure a success. Very happy. Yeah, I know. They're just blind rivets. It's not too hard. Honestly, I thought it was going to take me a lot longer to find the holes. But, like I said, take a lot of pictures. Once you can find one, makes it easier to find the next couple, and then just confirm that you're on the holes that you think you're on. And like I said, these two tools worth their weight in gold. Harbor Freight. I know, it's cheap. How many times am I going to rivet? Come on. Don't laugh at my Harbor Freight. First victim. Like this. Okay, that was too easy. I know I still have to secure it, but I mean, dude, it just popped in there. Seriously? Alright. Alright. So, while we're talking trim, as you can see, the trim, it's funny, fits up in this little channel. The top of it just slides right up into that little channel. And then the bottom, you know, you kind of lift up and it squeezes, puts pressure on the top of this, kind of squeezes it in there. And then you've got your different screws that permanently affix it. When dismantling the aircraft, that's, you know, the edges of this are very susceptible to cracking. You're putting a lot of stress on it trying to get it back out. So save yourself hundreds or thousands of dollars having to buy new these. And just be really careful. Take your time when you're getting it out of there. Take the screws out, and then just, you've got to kind of get the bottom lifted up a little bit, pushing against that channel, get it out like that, and then drop it back down out of the channel. It's the only way to do it. And then to take the channel out, you just got a small drill bit right there inside those rivets. Just drill it out slightly bigger than it is, and then just put something in there, like a really small screwdriver or nail, and give it a little bend. The inside will pop right out. Sometimes the inside just pops out right on your drill bit. But yeah, I thought I'd talk about the dismantling piece of that, because I didn't do a lot of video on that when I did the dismantling. Lots of pictures, but not lots of video. So anyway, just wanted to talk about that. But anyway, the reason I'm taking that back out is because that goes on top of this. The next one goes on top of that. So I need to start from the front, work my way back. So I'm going to go get another piece. And I haven't decided yet. Each one of these has screws at the base down here that screw back into that. Because there's already holes in the plastic, I'll probably put the screws back in instead of just doing Velcro. I was going to do Velcro like I did with the side panels and not have to put screw holes in anything. But these already have holes that have been drilled because they're the originals. If one day I ever replace these, which a few of them have got some cracks on the edges like this, couldn't fix that, but it's in an area where you really don't see it. If I ever replace them, then I may use Velcro down here against the wall instead of the screw, I think, just because it looks nicer. But anyway, enough of that. taped all the screws to the back, but I have to take those out because, you know, it doesn't fit against the wall, the screws in there. Go figure. I need a drink. That's a lot of work. I'll be back. Let's break that. Well, shit. Alright. Oh man. Guess I'm buying some new window trim. Oh. I just killed that thing. These things are so brittle, it's ridiculous. Yeah, the other plastic pieces are brittle, but not like this. I think it's because this stuff sat in the sun for the last 50 years. So yeah, well, I'll put it up there the rest of the way for now and order a new piece, and then that'll be a project for another day. Because you know what? Nobody sees that anyway. It's all the way up in the window. Anyway. Oh, man. I tried. If anybody knows a trick to this, again, the problem is you got to loosen the nut that is up here inside this in order to get this on. Problem is, once it's on, it's hard to tighten that nut again because there's no way to get in there because it's behind here. So you got to leave it hanging a little bit, just enough that you can get in there and tighten it, but then it's not quite as tight as you would like it to be. So if there's a trick to this, please share it in the comments, because I'll be taking both of these off, you know, in another month or so, and replacing this with a new piece. So I'd love to know if there's an easier way to do it. Please let me know. I'm cheating. I totally just cut the very, very corner of that, but nobody can see it. Nobody but me. So I don't care. Let's find a screw hole. That went in nice. Something. Oh, I just stuck that piece of trim on there. Used my screwdrivers to get the holes all nicely lined up, and then remembered that the screws that I want to use for it are taped to the back of it. I do, however, have a whole bunch of screws that AirTech sent me for putting the side panels on. Yeah. Or I can just take this back off. We'll just call that a test fit number 2. I did it once, I'll be able to do it again. See? Tape the screws to the inside. It's a good thing, so that when you're cleaning them and painting them, that you don't lose the screws, and you know which screws go exactly where. But, just gotta remember to take those off. Let's see what I did. Put this in. Snug. Oh, but you know what I did? Guess what's on the back side of this? Screw. In case you're wondering why I decided to do this side and not that side when I started on that side, because that front corner, I already see a problem coming. So I'm saving the best for last. It's going to be really tight. I'm going to take these screws off the back before I put this up there. This thing. Oh, see? Finally a comfortable position. I can put my legs outside. Oh my god. Worst thing about doing this, I mean, the work's not that bad, it's just you're very often in extremely uncomfortable positions trying to do it. And, you know, I ain't no spring chicken. One side done. Now the fight begins. You in the corner. Oh dear God.
So while I was finishing up this trim, my A&P stopped by just to check on me and see how things were going. So I had to take a minute just to share with him my exploits in riveting.
Almost got it.
You're working overtime now, Jack.
Yep, almost got it. Some of these holes are fine, but I
like a little prick or an all. There you go.
yeah, I've got a little tiny. That one's like a good to poke with and really find a tiny hole. And then this is smaller than all the screws, so it kind of like holds it in place for a minute while I find the next one. But yeah, I did my first riveting to put up these little channels along the top. That was fun. And the first rivet that I put in was too small, so I had to drill it back out, which was just perfect.
And now with all of the trim done, it's time to install what I call the bulkhead. Some people call it a hat shelf. I guess it's kind of both. And as you'll see here, I learned a lesson the hard way once again. Definitely want to put that in before you put all the trim in the back, as well as the side panels in the back. Because as you're about to see, I'm going to have to take those things back out in order to get this in there. Because it fits in there really tight, and then those other things go tight right in front of the edges of it. So lesson learned, learn from me. When you put your airplane back together and you're getting ready to install the side panels and the trim and all that fun stuff, put that bulkhead back in there first. Save yourself a headache.
All right, well, I broke the bottom of my trim piece. It's in the back, it's by the cargo, no one will ever see it. I get it. Just disappointing. Because I broke it the second time I had to put it in, and I wouldn't have had to put it in a second time. I put the bulkhead in first, so lesson learned there. Bulkhead goes in first. But, overall, yeah, man, I think I like it. So, there it is. And I talked to Airtex yesterday. Wah, wah. 3 to 4 more weeks for the seats. So, everything's in now, other than the seats. The plane is flyable. So I can put my old seats in. I will Febreze them to death because I don't want to take my new airplane smell and turn it into the old airplane smell. So I'll put the seats in when I want to fly. I'll take them back out, leave them out till the seats arrive. 3 or 4 weeks. That's not too bad. And that's not a delay or anything on their part. When I ordered the seats, they said 18 to 20 weeks for the seats. And it was a few weeks less than that for the side panels, and things have pretty much arrived on time. They were pretty backed up when I ordered it. So, yeah, So we will patiently wait for that. But overall, I'm pretty happy with it, I think. The trim is a nice match on the color and everything, it looks like. I think I will leave these the same color as the headliner. I think that looks nicer than making these the same as the trim. Again, let me know what you think in the comments, but I think that's my plan on that. It's just a cleaner look, I think. So, yeah, got some minor things to do. I'm making new armrests for the armrests. And for the bag door, when that closes, that doesn't have anything on it. And that was kind of weird. I didn't realize that. I never noticed it because you don't see that bag door because there's normally a seat here. But the bag door itself, it's just metal. There's no side panel for it. I thought when I got the airplane, maybe it was just missing one from over the years. But when AirTech sent me the whole set of side panels, they didn't send me anything for that. So I'm going to make a little panel for it and pop it on there, one that's easily removable, just so it'll look nicer back there for my bags to look at, because nobody else sees it. So I'm going to make that. I'm going to make the new armrests, and then just some minor little cosmetic things here and there. But overall, I'm done with the giant restoration project until the seats arrive, of course, and then I'll take you through the process of putting those together. They obviously just pop in the airplane, but there is a bit of a process actually putting the seats together once they arrive. So we'll walk through that. But until then, yeah, I'm gonna have some fun with my airplane. Cool. Oh my God, I'm done. Holy shit, I'm done. Oh my God, I'm done. Sweet. All right, I'll take some good video, before and after kind of stuff, and I'll share a little bit of that, but I'll save most of that for when the seats are in and she's totally done, and then I'll get it out in some good lighting and take a whole lot of the before and after kind of stuff. So look for that video coming up. Don't forget to give us a like if you like what you're seeing. Subscribe to the channel so you can see all the content. It's been a long road to bring the Aero, 50 years of it, back to life here. So check all that out. And yeah, subscribe for the future content. Check out the fun things we're going to do with this. I've got several things planned, some cool little trips to do in this, with some interesting stuff along the way that I think you guys will find interesting. It'll involve some interviews of some individuals and some sightseeing of some interesting places. So that's all coming up on the channel. So make sure you hit that subscribe button. And if you want to be notified when I upload a new video, hit the bell icon for that. And that way you'll get notified. And I'll stay in the chat after I upload for a few hours and try to answer questions right away. And then, of course, I'll answer questions over time as well. So, yeah, I'm just going to clean up and get out of here. So that is a wrap on the project for now until the seats arrive. So thanks again for watching. We'll see you on the next video.